Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. This podcast is dedicated to EAS employees of the U.S. Postal Service and members of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us for today's episode. And now, here's your host, Robert Wakefield.
Good morning, NAPS Branch 32, and good morning, NAPS family. Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. I am your host, Robert Wakefield. I am the president of Branch 32. That's right. Please be seated. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. It's really nice. Got a great show lined up for you today. So let's go ahead and let's pour that first cup. This season, we pause to reflect on the spirit of gratitude, and we're especially thankful for you. To our members, to our postal family, thank you for trusting us, growing with us, and standing together through every season. From holiday mail to everyday moments, your dedication inspires everything we do. You remind us that service is more than a job, it's a legacy. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for our first cup this morning, I wanted to bring on a good friend of ours that has been on the program before, and I wanted to bring him on to talk to him about an article that he wrote in the Postal Supervisor magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Northeast Region Vice President. Here is Dee Perez. Dee, how are you today?
Robert, I am doing fabulous. It's another day as a Postal PM who specializes in being a 100-meter hurdlist based on all the PM and EAS job expectations we had to do on a daily basis, 5 days a week, I might add.
Oh, there you go. So you're in the lead, I guess, as far as the hurdles is concerned. Congratulations.
Thank you. Everybody's got to be in the lead. We got no choice.
That's exactly right. Well, Dee, thanks for being on the program again. You've been on the program a few times, and we just loved every time you've been on. And I was intrigued by your October 2025 article that you wrote in the Postal Supervisor magazine, which if you get the Postal Supervisor magazine, Dee writes an article just about every month. And so you'll want to go in there and check that out. But it was the USPS leadership promotes this management myth. And you talked about two management myths. So let's talk about these two and give me your perspective on it. The first one that you mentioned is this. It says, you are responsible for your office 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yes, Robert, that is a myth. First of all, I'll start off by saying, there is nothing in any handbook or ELM that says 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Mm-hmm. That myth, and I'm going to take you back down memory lane a little bit because I started in 1989 as a letter carrier, got into management shortly thereafter, and the people that I was managing back then were the Vietnam veterans coming towards the end of their careers in the Postal Service.
Right.
And back then, their attitude was to take pride in what they do and accomplish the mission at any cost. Now, generations bring on different challenges. We have a generation now that is more about me, not about the service. And there's challenges involved with that. So with that, we also have people elevated in positions of management where they're younger than ever before. When I first started out, I don't believe there was a postmaster that was in their early 40s that was made back then.
Right.
Today, it's not unusual to hear somebody become a CCA, and then before you know, you turn around in the blink of an eye, they're either a high-level manager, postmaster, whatever the case may be. So they don't have those years of experience. So what they promote is you own your operation 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I've received calls from various parts of my territory and also out west, down south, emails alike. and saying, do I really own this? Is no. You applied for a position, and it told you primarily what you're responsible for, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, with Saturday, Sunday as your rest days.
Right.
That's what you own. But we don't stray from the fact that we're responsible for our positions, in the sense that if on a Saturday or late at night I get an urgent call that there's an emergency in the office, be it a fire, be, God forbid, a customer issue, maybe someone was taken away in an ambulance or had a health issue. Of course, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to be there to find out what the heck is going on, to let the leadership understand I'm here, I'm taking care of it, I'm aware of it, this is what's happening.
Exactly. So there's a difference right there, Dee, that you brought up.
Yes.
There's a difference in being responsible for your office 24/7 and being a responsible leader. Correct. And so I just think that one of the things that's so misinterpreted by upper managers that you're responsible for your office 24/7, and we expect you to be there 24/7. That's what a lot of attitudes are.
Yes, and they're pushing the new untested EAS postmaster managers, whatever it may be, to come in on a Saturday, watch their operation for a few hours, maybe come in on a Sunday, watch their Amazon process for a few hours. And they complain to me and they say, Dee, I don't have any family life. I said, well, guess what? Those aren't urgent emergency situations that you need to be aware of. If you have someone responsible working on that Saturday and Sunday, they can pick up the phone and call you and let you know what's going on. You can offer your experience and your advice as to how to handle it. You don't need to be there at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, they took away, thank God, Alvin McConnell, the CRDO, took away the early morning phone calls Monday through Friday. But my understanding is that the Amazon Sundays still have a phone call at 8 o'clock. And I think that's a little necessary. So they're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. But at least Monday through Friday, now it starts at 10 a.m. and there's no Zoom meetings after 5:30, because he realizes that postmasters, managers need to see what their supervisors are doing to help their supervisors accomplish a mission.
Right. Well, you wrote, and you wrote it very well in the article. You said, unfortunately, districts often use myth number 1, that's what we're talking about, as an opportunity to take advantage through intimidation of postmasters. Talk about the intimidation factor of myth number 1.
Well, listen, I receive a lot of calls, a lot of emails, and they say on the Zoom meetings, their MPOs are telling them they're responsible for their operations 24/7. Whatever it takes that they need to show up, they're going to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. Well, that is the problem, because they're using this myth to strong arm, to intimidate people who have less experience. Because quite frankly, I don't come in on a Saturday or Sunday. My operation is no longer Amazon Sundays, but I don't come in on Saturday. Do I make a phone call when I know on Friday we have a tough day going in on a Saturday to see how things are going? Yes, I do that on my own time. Mm-hmm. But that's 5 or 10 minute conversation. That's not getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning or earlier and being there for 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, and then going home.
Exactly.
Big difference.
I actually heard a postal official actually told me that, postmasters are responsible for their offices 24/7. And then I cited him the Elm reference that shows that it's not that way. But I was stunned that was his attitude. I was stunned that was being actually said.
Well, you know what? I don't know if the gentleman you spoke to or the lady you spoke to, whoever it may be, has a lot of experience in a postal, because right now we're transitioning from old to new. And let's face it, the boomer generation is coming to an end. I have 2 years left. At 68, I'll be retired. So you have people elevated to these positions with less experience, and they're responsible by their DMs or their regional VPs, and all they know is to continue the message on down to the front lines.
Exactly.
So that's knowing that the truth of the matter is your number one responsibility is to your family and your significant other.
Exactly.
I remember back in 1998, Postmaster William J. Henderson said, priority number 1 is your family.
Oh, wow.
Well, I haven't seen a Postmaster General since 1998 repeat that message yet.
How about that? That's an important message right there. So that's myth number one that you mentioned in your article. Myth number two is this. It says, you raised your hand for this. Talk about that for a second.
Okay. We know the post office is in constant flux. We know that AI, analytics, is now able to deep dive into everything we do. We live physically in a postal glass house where everybody can see everything. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when I raised my hand to become a postmaster or an EAS, those were different times. That technology and that scrutiny wasn't there for us back then. But we have evolved like any other business. I always say this to everybody when I go to branch meetings, that we have to evolve. Otherwise, we become like the dinosaurs. And quite frankly, there's so much competition that we have to do different things. However, the workload has evolved to the point where it's almost unattainable.
Right.
Okay. And how many hours do you really want to work every single day to try to be current? Mm-hmm. It's tough.
It is
so
tough.
If you have subordinate supervisors, you put stuff on them. But guess what? They have an ever-growing workload. And it seems like nothing is ever put to sunset in terms of either a homemade form that a POOM wants or a report that needs to be done yesterday.
Right.
I mean, I've had supervisors, postmasters complain, I don't get a lunch. I said, shame on you, because we spoke about that. And you did an episode on that.
Sure did.
Have a responsible EAS cover for you. Send your POOM email message saying, I'm taking my lunch. I'll come back. He or she will fill me in on what I missed. Mm-hmm. Simple. All right. So although we raise our hand for this, the job has evolved to the point where it's catastrophic. People are on the edge that I have to constantly talk to daily or write back to saying, listen, if it bothers you this much, you really need to take a step back, take some time off.
Exactly right.
I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything illegal, but their health has to be number one. Get assistance.
Right.
Reach out to EAB. It's not embarrassing. You know, sometimes we can't solve everything everybody wants us to solve, and we need guidance.
That's exactly right. Well, there you go, Dee. We have covered both of the myths that the USPS leadership seems to be promoting. The first one was you're responsible for your office 24 hours, 7 days a week. And the second one is you raised your hand for this, and you did a great job of explaining just how those myths are being used against EAS in today's postal world.
I appreciate the time, Robert. And although I raised my hand, I didn't raise it for this.
Well, you raised your hand to be on this podcast, so there you go. Thanks so much to Dee Perez.
I wasn't referring to the podcast, my friend.
Thanks, Dee. We appreciate you being on today, buddy.
You stay well, and everybody else have a pleasant day.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
You know, banking should be made simple. That's why Ollie, the Nashville Post Office Credit Union's virtual assistant, is here, ready to help 24/7. Need quick answers? Ollie delivers secure, instant solutions right at your fingertips. No wait times, no hassle, just smart banking made easy. Whether you're managing your finances, exploring loan options, or just need guidance, Ollie is always ready to assist, wherever and whenever you need. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. Okay, let's do something fun for our second cup this morning. This really sounds good. I love the drums. All right, here we go. That's right. Happy birthday to Naps Branch 32, who will be celebrating 117 years on November the 19th. That's right. 117 years this branch has been in existence. We're one of the oldest branches in the country. It was formed about 2 months after the National was formed. And we've gone through a few name changes in our history. I'm not sure. It was in 1972 of June that it was called the Nashville Sectional Center Branch. And then back in 1994, it was changed to Middle Tennessee Branch 32, which it still is today. Branch 32 is the largest branch in the state of Tennessee and the largest branch in the Cotton Belt area, which serves Tennessee, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. So, November 19th, I will be accepting all of our gifts between 2 and 4 on that day. So please be sure to give those to us. Thank you so much for listening to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. It's a great thing to be a part of this podcast. Share this with everybody that you know, and I sure would appreciate it. And as always, every great weekend starts with a great cup of Joe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Robert Wakefield and do not necessarily reflect the views of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. We welcome your questions and comments, so send those to SaturdayCupofJoe@gmail.com.